Mr. AniNews has graced us with another Lord of the Mysteries content. I appreciate it, even if it, is basically him shooting himself in the foot regarding YouTube growth. I still appreciate it. How KLEIN'S power work in Lord of the Mysteries. All his sequence 9 and 8 abilities explained. Oh, you gonna tell me all some clown stuff?
Fairly unique.
Wait. Volume check. You gotta be louder. Wait a minute. Let's go.
When it comes to isekai protagonists, KLEIN'S powers are fairly unique.
Yeah?
He's not particularly overpowered, but the Beyonder system paves a path for him or pretty much anyone else to become overpowered.
Okay.
That said, the starting point for any Beyonder can be fairly weak, and that's especially true for KLEIN and his choice of the Seer path. It places him in much more of a support role, while his advancement to Clown makes him far more suitable for combat.
Now he has to actually go in the front lines and duke it out. I think one of the things he enjoyed about being the Seer was that, oh, I don't have to go to the front lines and sacrifice myself in the fight, right? I mean, technically, he still kind of was. I mean, it's not like as if he was just like at home just doing like paperwork, but now he has no excuses. He gotta be in the front lines.
Both provide their own unique abilities, yet when combined together, they create the new and improved KLEIN we see in episode 10 and onward. It's in between, though, that we were shown so many different types of divination that I imagine it was hard to keep up with everything KLEIN was doing. So, in order to understand how exactly KLEIN'S powers work, we first need to start at the top, then work our way downward. That means understanding what it is a Seer is capable of, moving down to the next sequence of Clown, then looking at what being at those levels does for him. His Grey Fog is a separate power all on its own, so that'll have to be analyzed apart from the abilities granted by the sequence potions. Now, with all that...
If we were to get the Grey Fog power explained, I think that'd be all spoilers though, right? What the hell is it? How does it relate to the Antigonus family Seer stuff in KLEIN? It's a big mystery.
That said, I suppose the first place to start then is the intuitive mastery over the abilities granted by the Seer potion.
Okay.
What I mean is that becoming a Seer doesn't immediately allow you to grasp its powers instantly. No, it instead gives you an innate proficiency with them.
That's right, it's like a video game where you have a new class unlocked and you have beginner skills, and as you digest the potions, you start to master those skills and get better and better at it.
Their inherent traits like increased memory and enhanced spirituality makes it easy for the Seer to then learn and master rituals like astromancy, cartomancy, spiritual pendulums, and scrying, all of which are forms of divination allowing KLEIN to seek knowledge about the future or the unknown. What is divination? Well, according to Old Neil, it's the outcome of communication with the spirit world, the process of finding answers by putting one's consciousness into a higher dimension.
This is such a vague and abstract but OP power. Power of divination combined with how we can do this. Goddamn fucking stupid ass motorcyclist, bro. I just want you to know, if you have a motorcycle and you crank that shit, nobody likes you. Everyone thinks you're fucking cringe and you got no bitches and you're overcompensating because you are a loner. You're literally having a midlife crisis because a girl dumped you and they never want you. You think that motorcycle's gonna get you bitches? Nah, it's gonna have a bunch of people calling you a bunch of fucking losers. Anyways. The fact that like you can divine above the Great Palace and have the divination powers be enhanced to the point where KLEIN can literally see the blazing sun god, like what the hell? Isn't that insane?
I'll get deeper into the various methods of divination later, but for now just know astromancy is divination via analysis of celestial bodies like stars, planets, and constellations. Cartomancy is divination via playing cards. Spiritual pendulums does so via a weighted object like a crystal, then scrying is the stereotypical fortune teller method of a crystal ball or mirror.
What about the staff? We put the staff and it just like falls in a specific direction. Oh, it's that way.
In theory, the type of divination tool doesn't really matter though, since the outcome will always be the same regardless. Now, since this is knowledge KLEIN needed to learn in order to use, the methods in which that's done is either through experimentation and summarization, being bestowed by the gods themselves, or recalled through the dangerous murmurs KLEIN occasionally hears from time to time.
And apparently, these whispers? Did Crisette say this? I think the Red Glove guy might have said it, where it could be maybe it was some other cut content. Basically, the whispers and murmurs are sometimes voices of higher sequence beyonders of the same pathway. Isn't that crazy? So like when KLEIN hears Antigonus, Hornassus, right, Phlegrea, stuff like that, the whisperings and murmurings, like You telling me these are the voices of another person of the seer pathway? But like, what about past, present, future? Like I'm trying to think, is this a current person? Are these voices recorded from like the fourth epoch and stuff where they aren't even alive anymore? But you know what I mean? Like, are the messages like transcending time and stuff? That's kind of crazy.
All provide the opportunity to understand what their potion has to offer. It's just some methods are more dangerous than others.
The sun.
The first thing.
But like the sun god low-key respected that he survived it, right? And he was like, all right, bet, here's some sun charm stuff, the name of a, you know, high-ranking sequence in the sun pathway, and pure white angel, and shadowless, and yeah, here it is.
Klein learned after ingesting his potion was how to manage the physical manifestation of it. After mitigating its energy and reducing the seepage of it, Klein was taught what's called cogitation, a meditative state converging the potion's powers inward. It was while in this state that Klein could see and understand the truth, revealing knowledge only he himself could understand.
Okay.
The result was what old Neil likes to call a mystic experience.
This is crazy that all of these things have like a definitive term, but when we were watching the Donghua, because of how it doesn't need to cover all that, we just kind of go with it. I just think that, oh, Klein's divining. Whoa, he's seeing stuff and flying over place like a simulation. I just go with it, but like there's like definitions for everything.
A phenomenon only possible while in this state of cogitation. Next, Klein would learn how to use spirit vision, one of the most foundational abilities for pretty much any Beyonder.
It's OP.
It was a mystical power that allowed him to perceive supernatural and non-physical phenomenon, one that needed to be trained in order to get better. With
Colors.
this, he could see the auras I talked about in a previous video,
Yep.
letting him discern anything from a person's health and emotion, all the way to the spiritual traces of organic material. The thing about spirit vision, though, is that just like a muscle, if used too much, it eventually becomes a burden on the soul body.
Fatigue, okay.
Without proper training, using spirit vision can be incredibly draining and cause both headaches and hallucinations. That's why it was so important to build that muscle up. Recovering after was just a matter of getting rest.
There's like some times where you can't even see through, like the better you are at digesting the potion, the clearer the colors are, more like intense that you understand using spirit vision, everything just gets better. But also this skill is so insane in how Klein can use it to assess his followers. Looking at Aldra and Audrey, depicting how they're thinking and to scam them. When you think about the role that he's playing as the mysterious ruler, the fraud above the gray fog, this power just works so perfectly. You know what I mean? It's the perfect scamming power.
Now, a sort of unwanted ability Klein had gained after this was a passive sense allowing him to detect abnormalities or emotions even without activating his spirit vision. It was a trait attributed to his seer sensitivity, this innate perception to the spiritual atmosphere around him.
It's like a passive you get for this, you know, pathway.
Fast forward to a bit after this, and it was after coming to the understanding acting would allow him to digest his seer potion that Klein would embrace the role by joining a divination club. His first encounter with them would have him deal with tarot cards, a tool simply used to read what the truth symbolizes. So, it's Klein's interpretations of them that should reveal the answers to the questions he's asking during the ritual. When it comes to probing via more thorough means, one of the risks is communicating with existences not fully known. Reason being that
evil gods and
was
spirits.
Always a clear path towards madness. Fortunately, it's not present with the divination he learned next, the method we see fairly often known as pendulum dowsing.
Okay.
This is the method that connects the seer's astral projection to the spirit world, allowing him to divine simple truths like good and bad or yes and no type statements.
Yeah, like clockwise versus counterclockwise. You ask a question and it's like a yes or no thing.
It's a very practical tool for the most basic of divinations. So, first you write a statement onto a piece of paper, hang the spirit pendulum over said paper, then close your eyes and repeat the statement 7 times over.
7 times?
Depending on how the pendulum is moving after, determines what the answer to your statement is.
Like, I think we use this when trying to compare is Lanavis and Madame Sharon in on it together. I'm not sure if it actually moved, but sometimes this is limited by stronger Beyonders that can interfere with this, right? It's not like you can always get the answers to everything, right? Sometimes It's like if there are other stronger influences, they can block you out.
Clockwise rotation means good or yes, while counterclockwise indicates bad or no. No movement simply means it's neither good nor bad.
This part,
The
Sharon.
written statement shouldn't ever be a question, since apparently doing so wouldn't work.
Yet, maybe we're gonna be able to feed in. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like ChatGPT. It's like you just put in an input. Come on, give me an answer. Oh, you need to upgrade to premium. Maybe the higher sequences we get, the better that we can get answers from this. Maybe it's not just limited to just yes and no. Maybe we can ask more detailed, descriptive things.
It has to be formatted like this instead of this.
And like expect like a, again, not a yes or no answer. I want descriptive answers with nuance.
Such was one of the rules of divination. Deeper divination practices revolved heavily around symbolism, mainly because answers weren't typically something that could be accurately described by the information one could sense. More often than not, they appeared as indescribable experiences, direct revelations, or abstract characters and symbols, all of which represented different items and different meanings. So, it was only by grasping the ability to interpret these symbols that Klein could really take the next step into the world of mysticism.
Okay.
A good example would be how one might interpret the constellations. It was very possible symbols representing constellations or planets could appear in Klein's divination, so it was important to know what they meant in order to understand them.
I feel like this shit's so important. Just like in ReZero, how constellation is so important. In this world, again, like the mysterious palace above the Great Fog, there's like constellations involved in how we bring in people. The Red Star, right? Klein accidentally bumps into a Red Star thing, brings Alder and Audrey in. And you know, what's his name? Fucking the new kid. The Sun Boy. Derek, that's right. Derek Berg, right? So it's like, what does the meaning of stars and constellations have in relation to our mysterious palace above the Great Fog? What's going on with that? And the opening too? Not the opening. There is the song for the mobile game. I don't know if it matters, but it's crazy how like we're seeing the Great Palace, the palace above the Great Fog, and then we zoom out of it, and then it's a coin. The world is flat and we're on a coin. I don't think that actually matters though, does it? I don't know.
It mainly came into play when dealing with what's called astrolabe divination, but that's a tool we rarely see used by Klein. Just know that Klein can interpret things based on the positions of planets and constellations.
Okay.
For a quick example on how that's done, say Klein wants to divine something about a specific person. By knowing the date and time of which they were born, Klein could read the star paths of that time to determine their fate. The method itself was extremely complicated, but with the seer's innate ability to memorize things easier, holding all this knowledge wasn't difficult at all for him. It was yet another trait that came with the seer potion.
Intelligence buff.
Klein could handle large volumes of information without forgetting it, a clear indication of his cognitive enhancement. So, Klein would train these core seer powers daily, practicing his spirit vision and dowsing techniques. He would go so far as to integrate them into his lifestyle, enabling the potion digestion process to occur faster.
It's actually pretty sweaty how we even joined a divination club to just like further act out the acting principle. But I guess like if you're that, I guess it get kind of addicting, right? If I was a Beyonder, I too want to digest a potion as quickly as possible. This wouldn't like feel like something I have to do. It's more like, damn, bro. It's like I want to digest this. I want to advance. Come on, let's go grind. He's locked in.
Obviously, seers being as weak as they were combat-wise though, required some other training in order to offset that.
I heard that they skipped that entirely. Apparently there was like Klein had like a mentor who was a knight. I think I was talking in a different video about Emperor Roselle and like the existence of steam machine gunnery, machine guns, and how that like retired the knights and stuff. And apparently the Klein's mentor is actually one of the last order of the knights that existed and coached him, but they like did not show him at all, which is, I guess it means that he's not that important of a character, huh?
So, time at the shooting range made it easier to prepare for practical combat. Now, the first time we see Klein use his powers in a real case comes from his search for Elliot. In a case like this, when a person being divined isn't present, usually a medium tied to them is required in order to facilitate their divination.
Bro, this was such a sus scene. This is Sharon's hair just perfectly coming to him. What a coincidence. Wow. The one thing that we needed when she was getting away and you just gave it to us, huh? Is this the work of the fucking feather? Why would Ince Zanquil, the wielder of the quill, do this if it's actually him? He wants Klein to figure out the doomsday stuff going on? I don't know. It's just like the more I think about it, the less it makes sense, man. It's like there's like an external force trying to make Klein seemingly figure out the doomsday plan. It keeps helping him. He figures out all these coincidences. I don't know. There's even a scene where like he's trying to use spirit vision to look into Magos's like baby thing. But remember, you can't look at a god. You're gonna get fucked up. Havre got fucked up that episode. Yet like, not even that one after that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that's like protecting Klein and trying to hint and nudge him to figure out the doomsday plot. And it's like, why would you do this? I thought you're on their side. I guess you're not. There's alternative motives. I don't know. Maybe at the end of the day, they just want Klein to be safe because... But that's separate from the Antigonus stuff that I was thinking. I thought the Antigonus diary had like a mind of its own, and its goal again is to like propel Klein into like a further higher sequence of a seer pathway. There's a lot of different things at play, and it's all getting all jumbled up together, and I just don't know. I'm just like, that feather be doing some shit.
The method Klein used was known as dowsing rod seeking, functioning fairly similarly to his spirit pendulum dowsing. All he had to do was wrap his cane with Elliot's amulet, enter cogitation, and repeat the statement Elliot's location seven times over,
Jesus.
Then let the cane do the rest. The cane would then point in the direction where Elliot was, allowing him to track his target easily. It was during this mission that Klein was shown to be able to perceive through walls with spirit vision, allowing him to detect a person's presence even if there was a room between them.
I love when novel readers ask questions. They're indirectly spoiling me and trying to probe me. I hate stuff like that. Please stop commenting like that. Genuinely. Like, you know what you're doing. Why are you asking me a question like that? You clearly have read the novel. No. Why would you ask that though? Genuinely. You do this all the time. You ask these specific questions as if you're like guiding me to like a specific destination that you want me to go to, which is something I'm not asking for. I don't want like things to lead me, like hints and clues. Like there's a lot of like breadcrumb feeders on the YouTube comment sections as well. A lot of people that's just like, oh yeah, interesting how you think that way. Well, what do you think about this? And it's just like, please just come on.
With spirit vision, allowing him to detect a person's presence even if there was a room between them. He was also shown to ward off the effects of Leonard's Midnight Poet abilities, indicating a strong spiritual perception and extreme familiarity with cogitation. In fact, his increased sensitivity to the supernatural had even allowed him to detect a form of surveillance that shouldn't have
The
been
Hidden
known to him.
Sage.
In any case, it was over time that Klein came to understand divination could be split into three main categories. The division made by how the revelation of said divination was come to. The first was through the subject's own spirituality, typically housing methods like tarot, pendulums, dowsing rods, and dreams.
Okay.
The second was from the fortune teller themselves, typically involving their own intuition and calculation. The third was from a fully external third party, a supernatural force influencing the revelation through means like a Ouija board or magic mirror.
we got Ouija boards in here? I mean, why not? Let's go.
The former two were the ones Klein practiced the most, since the third carried a high risk of contacting malicious unknown entities. Yet another one-way street to madness and insanity. It was shortly after that Klein had learned how to use ritual magic, a means of borrowing external help from a higher power of sorts. For him, that's typically the Evernight goddess, so we've seen a few times where he needs to request power from her.
It's pretty OP, ritualistic magic. It's also very dangerous. That's how Neil went down, right? And I think that we also use ritualistic magic to conjure up the sun charms, right? That's kind of funny to me how like the gods don't really care about loyalty. It's like, I don't know. I would feel betrayed if my fate, like, I don't know. I guess, you know, the gods don't really care. And the gods, if they see like an Evernight follower, you know, praising another god, to them just like, oh, sure. Okay, you want to come here instead? Let's go.
There was also the instance where he prayed to himself, granting him the power to draw a portrait he normally wouldn't have been capable of.
Bald.
The whole thing is actually kind of...
That's actually crazy. We can get like a specific picture as well of a person that we're looking for using ritualistic magic. Oh, please, Evernight goddess, help me find the clues to this person. And he's just, here it is, tracing done. That's why, like, Divination's ritualistic magic, it may not sound strong on paper because you're not fighting, but like the utility, the way to like gather knowledge, it's insane.
The whole thing is actually kind of vague right now, so all you gotta know is that ritual magic seeks help and power from someone else. It's always possible to seek.
And like Klein can do that to himself though, right? Use ritualistic magic to pray to the fool. Just like how he summons a familiar by referring to himself. But how would that even work? It feels like a loop. I feel like we're going in a cycle.
That help from an existence not entirely known, but just like everything else, that's sure to lead to madness. Now, it was during Klein's meeting with Anna later that we would see him implement spirit numerology, astrolabe, and dream divination. Astrolabe we already covered, but the other two are divinations we haven't yet gotten to.
Okay.
So, in spirit numerology, Klein can map a person's life stages and their yearly luck based on their date of birth and the current year it was. I won't go into the exact calculations, but the variables involved are a person's birthday path number, their birth month path number, and their birth year path number.
What the fuck?
Each reflecting how a certain stage in their life is supposed to go.
Supposed to go. Bro can just, what? This is, I mean, I guess this is like extra detail that's not as important, but this is sweaty as fuck. You can tell like every life stage.
These all gave clues into the situation with Joyce, allowing Klein to see his life was represented by a number reflecting balance and harmony, while his current luck gave a number representing change, an accident, and
The
risk.
fuck?
So, Astrolabe revealed Joyce would survive the accident, while Dream Divination would provide symbolic visions confirming it. When it comes to dream divination, there's really not much to explain with regards to how it works. It's pretty much the same as the other methods. The only difference is that it gives revelations via a series of changing images. Now, all these powers aren't really beneficial in combat, a clear point we've seen time and time again in the anime.
Combat's overrated. Who cares, man? All the other information gathering powers, way better. We can have Leonard fight for us. But now, clown time. You can fight.
That being the case, as a seer, Klein's powers are more helpful as support over anything else. Even then though, his predictions and advice can only go so far, as his path was more predicated on guidance over control. What I mean is that as true as his revelations may be, there may not always be a time when he can change a person's decision. It's Klein's advancement to Sequence 8 that changes all that, making him far more effective in all things physical. His coordination, balance, agility, and speed were all improved, a result of greater control over his muscles, his body, and his center of gravity.
But like, how does it make sense that it's a clown after a seer? That's what I don't get. How the fuck does an assassin turn into a pleasure madame? The more I think about some kind of connections and logic of like sequence names. Huh? What? Why? I don't know. You would think that like seer would turn into something like the all-seeing. I don't know. Like just like I'm expecting like a warrior to evolve into like a knight, and then a knight to like evolve into like dragon knight, and then a dragon knight to evolve into like, I don't know, fucking holy crusader. You know what I mean? Some sort of consistent theme with it. Yet in Lord of the Mysteries, mystery prior turns into melee scholar. What the fuck?
The most noticeable change was the increase to his coordination, allowing him to easily perform feats like rope walking and acrobatics now. It's an incredibly useful ability that can be applied to a number of situations. Whether it be climbing walls, backflipping to dodge an attack, or navigating tricky terrain, Klein could handle all of that. I mean, the man can walk on rope as easily as he walks on the sidewalk now.
Alright.
So,
Bro's literally a cat. Climb me already that we've seen in the chibi shorts.
I really can't express just how much more agile he is. That's not to say his strength wasn't enhanced either, though, as a small test indicated he was about as powerful as his combat teacher.
The combat teacher we never get to hear about. The fuck?
That being the case, with a bit more specialized training, Klein knew he could leverage all of this to become even stronger. He figured half a year was what it'd take to become decent in combat, while only a few weeks was needed to become adept. So, where a normal person would usually take years to train in something like this, Klein's ingestion of the clown potion had once again given him intuitive mastery over it. he now had an innate proficiency for all the powers the clown potion had to offer.
It's kind of busted how like the weaknesses of the seer is now all covered for. He can't fight. Now he can fight and has all the utility and the information gathering stuff. What could be sequence 7? The clown that we're fighting right here was sequence 7 of Seer Pathway. It must be something totally different. I can't even imagine. Like, again, if there was a consistent theme, then we could like guess what it would be. But if we go from Seer into clown, next could be like, I don't even know, McDonald's worker? Burger maker? Entrepreneur? Like there doesn't seem to be a connection. I don't see a connection yesterday. Maybe if we have all the sequence names together, I would be able to like be like, oh, they all like piece and piece. They all come together to make more sense together. But right now, individually, it's like, what the? Where are we going?
Such was the difference between a
homeless person. I don't know. It's gotta be like I don't know. It's I don't know, bro.
Beyonder and a normal person. It's aside from these physical enhancements that Klein would also gain predictive like intuition, an ability he believes lets him perceive short, fleeting.
Could you imagine like Salaryman? Bro has to like redo his fucking old life here in this new isekai world in order to digest his potion and get a fucking job and just be a salaryman. God.
Glimpses into the future of others' immediate actions. I wouldn't go so far as to call it straight up foresight though, as his predictions were limited to people's movements and nothing else. It's an acquired skill, likely a product of his already powerful observational and analytical abilities. That and his newfound understanding of movement and coordination. So,
needs to get used to it.
Klein already had a decent handle on danger precognition, his new understanding of body control works in tandem with that to react to others on instinct. Things like attacks directed towards him can now be seen a whole lot easier. Just remember how the clown from episode 3 handled Dunn and the other Beyonders.
Bro was shooting air guns, man.
Now, unlike how other Beyonders would immediately know whether their sequence upgrade came with new spells or not, Klein's inability to sense any meant that his didn't.
What? That is kind of interesting too, right? Like, is there like a manual, a guidebook? Maybe there is, of like, hey, you are this sequence, you have all these skills, but it's like an intuitive thing. But for Klein, no?
With new spells or not, Klein's inability to sense any meant that his didn't.
Why?
He did remember the Nighthawk files describe Clown as crafty though, so when he considered for what cases that might be, two very beneficial uses came to mind. The first applied to
maybe it's better this way. Maybe now we're not limited in the types of powers that we can do, rather than having like a direct like skill set of the box that we're confined to.
non-combat situations, and that was from his improved control over his expressions and body language. With that assisting in future conversations and negotiations, Klein knew he could lie and mislead people easily now.
Not lie. We're inspiring, you know, them with half-truths. It's for their own good, okay? Lying is a very negative word. Klein is, what do the people say in their novels? Lampooning? Yeah, we're lampooning. I don't think the lampooning is even a fucking word for lie. What the fuck does lampoon even mean? Does lampoon just mean like meme? To have fun with? Publicly criticized by using ridicule, irony, or sarcasm. You're just making some joke. You're just joking around. You're just trolling around.
The second was far more useful for combat, an ability allowing him to turn paper into piercing daggers. With a simple activation of his powers, Klein can turn sheets of paper into weapons as hard and sharp as steel.
Tarot cards, baby.
It's unclear whether this improvised weaponry can be applied to other objects as well, but for now it seems it's most effective with that.
Okay.
That being the case, Klein figured it was best to carry a deck of tarot cards with him. This meant he could always have a helpful divination tool on hand, or quickly substitute it out for a weapon.
Imagine the Fool card or the tarot card saves him one of these days, whether it be by throwing it or some other divination means, and it would all come together of him being, you know, the fool that doesn't belong to this era.
Either way, Klein was now far more capable with both combat and his spirituality.
What if you could summon Alger and Audrey using those cards? Like it's Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not talking about summoning them through the Great Fog. him literally playing the card and be like, I summon Audrey Hall. Here's the fucking justice card. Boom. You know, and boom. And then she just, I don't think that would work like that.
It would certainly take a little bit of practice to become a master of everything, but just like with Seer, I'm sure that'll be no problem for him. Just remember, these new powers don't really mean anything when in the face of those who are a higher sequence.
Don't touch it!
With most Beyonders being around sequence 9 or 8 though, this definitely evens the playing field for him. So as far as how powerful Klein is now, his role is still more suited for support, what with all the divinations he can perform, but he's also much more capable in a real fight.
I'm just worried of how ready we're gonna be going into, you know, today's episode as well as next week's episode, the finale, right? Where is he gonna be able to use his powers well enough to prevent the doomsday from happening? I don't know, we'll have to see.
At least to the point where he shouldn't have to rely on his revolver all the time. Keep in mind, this doesn't include his charms or the buffs he gets when in the Grey Fog, but that's gonna be a topic for another video.
Have we used the sun charms yet? I think we did last. Wait. I vaguely remember. Did we use it against the Sharon episode? No. We haven't. It's okay. We still have it saved. Okay. We still have those charms. Still our trump cards.
For now, I hope you enjoyed learning more about his Sequence 9 and Sequence 8 abilities. There's definitely plenty more to talk about in the future.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you liked what you saw, then leave a like.
Yes, please go support this man. Like, if you want more, again, AniNews Lord of the Mysteries content, you gotta watch his videos, and it can't be pity views either. And that's the thing that's really frustrating again on YouTube, where you want to make videos on a topic you like, but if the algorithm and the audience that the algorithm has determined for your audience doesn't care about that topic, and you make videos on that topic, it does bad. And then you send bad signals and you shoot yourself in the foot. So you're basically like fucking yourself over in order to make content that you may care about, but not other people care about. I complain about this shit all the time. Fuck you, motorcycle, again! God, I hate these goddamn motorcyclists, bro. No bitches. So fucking insecure. They got nothing, bro. All they do is just fucking rev their engines and be like, oh, look at me. Look at me. No one gave me attention. Look at me. Look at my motorcycle. Fuck your motorcycle. Here's a link to the video. Please go give AniNews a like on the video. Go leave him a comment or something. And juice him up. Go juice this man up. He deserves more views. See you next time.